Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about the insane number of synthetic AMC shares that have been traded so far in 2021. Trust me guys, you do not want to miss this video, so stay tuned and let's make some money. But before I dive into the video, I just want to give a massive shout out to the 2,600 of you that have currently dinged that notification bell, because you guys are always the first to watch a new video as soon as it's released. So guys, be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell if you haven't already so that you don't miss another video just like this one. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, just saying, 22 billion shares of AMC have traded in 2021. I can't get over that. It's a simple numbers game. After today, the current float has traded roughly 50 times this year. That's insanity. More fake shares than real ones at this point. Either you get this or you don't. Truth be told, no one knows exactly just how many synthetic shares are out there right now at this very moment. That's what makes them synthetic. However, the hedgies that created those synthetic shares know how many they've each created. Now you might say, oh, hang on a second. If you don't know exactly how many synthetic shares there are right now, how do you know that there's any synthetic shares at all? Well, I want to direct you to the number of shares that have traded for AMC so far compared to some other very popular stocks. So let's look at those very popular stocks for the month of May. If we have a look at Amazon, they've got 504 million shares in issue. Just a few, maybe more than a few, but more than AMC, you get the picture. Amazon's traded around 3.25% of the float in the dark pool for the month of May, a very small percentage. Apple has a whopping 16 billion shares in issue. Again, only traded around 3% of the float in the dark pool for the month of May. On a share-by-share basis, Amazon only actually traded 16 million shares, whereas Apple did trade 512 million shares in the dark pool, so a lot more shares. But obviously, Amazon is a much more expensive stock than Apple, so you can understand why there's been less shares. Looking at Tesla, around 237 million shares traded in the dark pool, around 24% of the float. However, if we move across to AMC, 1.5 billion shares was traded in the dark pool for the month of May. 295% of the float was traded in the dark pool in 1 month. Not to mention that Tesla, Apple and Amazon are heavily held by day traders that trade in and out of the stock very regularly, swing traders that also trade in and out of the stock fairly regularly, and institutions that can also come and go as they please and most likely lend their shares to the dark pool whenever they fancy. AMC on the other hand is held at least 80%, if not 90%, if not 95%, if not twice or 3 times over by the Ape Nation. There's a very small percentage of stock that is actually available to trade in the dark pool for AMC compared to the total float. Just pulling a fairly old article here, only 30% of the float is owned by retail investors in Tesla. In Amazon, it's even less. Only 10% of the float is held by retail investors. Therefore, that means there's 70% or 90% of the float that can be freely traded in the dark pool whenever they fancy. Compared to with AMC, only between 5 and 20% of the float can possibly be traded in the dark pool, but yet they're trading those shares in the dark pool 3 times over than the float size. This just proves that the sheer amount of shorted shares going between Citadel and Virtue as ladder attacks is paramount in the AMC stock. Not to mention, there's a ton of synthetics that have been created in order to enable this. I also wanted to bring to your attention that there is going to be no controlled short squeeze. There is going to be a controlled market crash, but not necessarily a controlled short squeeze. It's not what most folks expect. The control aspect is to control or prevent a market crash as an AMC short squeeze takes off. Recent action by the Fed and the SEC, as in the introduction of Rule 010, 803 and 011, will massively boost the AMC share price, massively increase the probability of the grandest short squeeze ever to occur, will occur sooner and bigger. The concept will be greatly increasing ape confidence in wealth to be generated from AMC stock, the short squeeze. Okay, so powerful people are anticipating that hedge funds will soon be delivered margin calls, meaning they will have to cover or buy AMC stock, causing the share price to rocket. This will result in unprecedented large losses for the hedge funds, so large that the Fed and the SEC are anticipating that the hedge funds will need to sell huge quantities of their stocks they got. So large that the Fed and the SEC are anticipating that hedge funds will need to sell huge quantities of their stocks they're long on, like Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. in order to cover their losses to such an extent that it could spark an epic sell-off of stocks, not only by hedge funds, but as big companies' share prices drop, other institutional investors will panic sell as well. Add inflation, fear of inflation, and actual inflation that has been minimised by the Fed to avoid panic, it could be really, really bad. So, the SEC is processing a clever way to avoid this anticipated market crash. Hedge funds will take their long stock portfolios and pawn them or lend them at the US Fed pawn shop. The Fed or just other institutions will temporarily own or possess these stocks and will give cash to the hedge funds for the stocks. The hedge funds will have the cash or money so that they need not sell all their stocks, generating a market crash, and they can later buy back their stocks or maybe make monthly payments to the Fed to get their stocks back. In my opinion, brilliant, and AMC gets their huge short squeeze. I have no opinion on how high the AMC share price can go, but I do believe this will have major influence upon future hedge fund shorting, future hedge fund use of naked shorting, and fairness in the stock market. So why do I say there's not necessarily going to be a controlled short squeeze? Well, because of these rules that the DTCC has implemented, they are expecting margin calls. When a hedge fund gets margin called, they have to cover their position, their entire position, all at once, and they don't get a say in the matter. Some people have expected that it's going to be a controlled short squeeze, as in the AMC price is going to go up to 100, come back to 50, up to 150 or 200, back down to 80, up to 300, back down again, and then continue going higher. However, that assumes that hedge funds are still going to be able to manipulate the AMC stock while controlling it all the way to $200 a share without getting liquidated and then bringing it back down. However, obviously the DTCC is expecting these hedge funds to be liquidated before AMC gets to $200, meaning that they won't be able to control it and manipulate it back down before it blasts off. I think when the AMC stock gets going and it reaches new highs and those liquidations start, there's going to be nothing to save those hedge funds, other than the DTCC giving them cash for their long positions so that those hedge funds can buy our shares. Therefore, I personally think that when the NSCC 2021-010, 803 and 011 all come into play and those liquidations start and the DTCC starts lending out cash in return for those long positions, then the short squeeze is going to start and it's not going to be a controlled short squeeze. I also saw a very important update from BMO Wealth Management from their investor line trading platform. They're not going to be allowing short selling specifically for AMC and a bunch of other meme stocks. They're also not going to be allowing any naked or uncovered options trading for AMC and a bunch of other meme stocks. Although interestingly, they didn't change the margin requirements from 30% to 75% or 100% for AMC, but they did change it for other meme stocks. Although interestingly, this sentence ends in nothing, this sentence ends in nothing, this sentence ends in nothing, but this sentence ends in a comma. Maybe they meant to put AMC here or at the start. Maybe it was removed for the final publication. You might be wondering, who actually are BMO? BMO stands for Bank of Montreal and it's the fourth largest bank in Canada by market capitalization and assets. So a fairly big deal. This just adds to the number of trading platforms that have been restricting short selling on those meme stocks and specifically on AMC, like TD Ameritrade and many other trading platforms. Another dark pool update, and today again we're seeing 70% of all trading volume going through the dark pool. Clearly those trading platforms know that the AMC short squeeze is coming and they don't want anyone on their platform shorting AMC without proper margin requirements and without sufficient cash in their accounts. Guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments below about the sheer amount of synthetic shares currently being traded for AMC, especially when you see this percentage of the total float being traded on a monthly basis, in the dark pool of all places. And if you want to pick up some shares in AMC, but you haven't even yet signed up to a trading platform, be sure to sign up with Fidelity, because they don't sell their order flow to market makers like Citadel, who pass it through the dark pool. Basically, don't use Webull or Robinhood or any of the other platforms that do sell their order flow. Although saying that, Webull is an excellent beginner investing platform. They've got great charting, news, company fundamentals and figures, option order flow, they've got it all. So if you do want to sign up with Webull, be sure to use my link down in the description below to get some free shares. If you're in the UK, be sure to sign up with Freetrade, again linked in the description below to get some free shares because they don't sell your order flow. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers!